Okay, introduction to graphing. In this section, we're going to do some basic steps to plot the graph of equation. First of all, you have to understand this is a very important topic because look at here. This is the example of a house price graph for last 20 years USA market. By just looking this graph, you can say that when the house price was down and when it's up. So since 2000 to 2007, it was very going up, and then from 2007 to 2000, when is that 2000 almost 13, the house price stays same, and then after that it went up. So graphing is very easy and then useful tool to present our finding. That's the reason we need to learn about this graphing. So we start with the plotting points, and then after that we will talk about equation, how to plot the graph of equation, and we're going to discuss about distance formula, how to find the distance between 2 points, and then after that we're going to talk about circles, how to plot the graph of circles. So these are the topics we're going to cover in this section. Let's start. To understand the topic, first of all you have to understand the coordinate system. So what happens is in real life we have four different direction: uh, north, south, east and west. But in math we don't use four different names, but instead of that we just use x-axis, which is horizontal line, and then y-axis, which is vertical line. And whenever they intersect here, this point is called origin or starting point. Think about this. Think about like this. Let's say this is your home, and then here is Dallas College. So if you want to travel from your home to Dallas College, your starting point is your origin. So this is the starting point, origin. So from here you might have to go to some unit to the east and then some unit to the north. So how many units you travel to the east and how many units you travel to the north, that can be done here on the x-axis and on the y-axis. So from origin, if you go to the east, that's a positive x, and if you go to the west, that is negative x. From the origin, if you go up, that's a positive y, and if you go down, that's a negative y. So for any location or any points, we can go there by using these two axis, x-axis or y-axis. So that's the reason in this system, to find out a point, you need two information: x coordinate and then y coordinate. X coordinate tells you from origin either you have to go to right or left based on either it's positive or negative. Y coordinate tells you either you have to go up or down. Okay, so this system is called Cartesian coordinate system. We can divide this system into four different parts. That's why it's called quadrant: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. As you can see here, in the first quadrant the x-axis would be positive, the y-axis would be positive. So all the points you see here in this quadrant, they are positive x coordinate and positive y coordinate. If you go here, that's only possible if you start from the origin and go to the left. Going left for the x-axis is negative. Going up for the y-axis is positive. That's why it's a negative and positive. All the points in this quadrant, they come as negative comma positive value. Similarly, here it's negative negative, and here it's positive and negative. Let's take one example here. Let's say you have a point negative 3 comma 5. So you start with the origin, you go negative side of the x-axis, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, and positive side of the y-axis, which is 5 unit up. That's the reason this is the negative 3 comma 5 point. Okay, our goal is to plot the graph of equation. First of all, you have to understand the meaning of equation. Whenever you see equality sign between some variable and some number, that's called equation. Equation means equality sign. This is a nothing, it's just a statement. 2 times of x plus 3 times of y is equal to 18. Think about this. Let's say x represents price of marker, and then y represents price of, let's say, pencil. So 2 times the price of the marker plus 3 times the price of the pencil, it's supposed to be equal to 18, let's say 18 bucks. So this is just a statement. So this is called equation in two variable because there are two variable x and y. The solution of this equation means if you find the value of x and y, which gives you the true statement, meaning both sides equal, that's the solution of the equation. And graph of this equation can be found by plotting all those possible solutions. There might be infinite solution. So our job is to just find out those solutions and plot the points and join them. And that's how we find graph of equation. Examples, we need to check either negative 5 comma 7 is a solution of this equation or not. How do we do that? Just replace x by negative 5, replace y by 7 in this formula and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to do it here. 2 times negative 5 plus 3 times positive 7, is it equal to 18? Let's do the calculation. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. 3 times 7 is positive 21. So this is positive 11 equal 18. Is it true statement? 11 is equal to 18? The answer is no. That means this is not the solution of this equation. Let's go here. Let's do the same thing. Replace x by 3 and then y by 4. And let's check what happens. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. And that is 18 equal 18, which is true. It was false here, but now it's a true. True means this order pair is the solution of this equation. Our goal is to plot the graph of equation, and to plot the graph of equation, we need collection of solution of that equation. How do we do that? We need to find out the sum points solution. For that, there are very, very interesting points. We are going to talk about them first. X-intercept. These are the points where the graph intersect with the x-axis. So let's say this is your coordinate system, and let's say this is the graph of something. Then whenever this graph intersect with the x-axis, remember this horizontal line is called x-axis. So how many points you see? This point, this point, this point. There are 3 points where the graph crosses the x-axis or touches the x-axis. These 3 points are x-intercept. Keep in mind, on the x-axis, the value of the y-coordinate would be 0. So no matter which point you choose, there would be the value of x, but the value of y would be 0. These are very, very useful points. That's why we're talking about them. Similarly, for the y-intercept, instead of the x-axis, we focus on the y-axis. So wherever the graph crosses or touches the y-axis, that's the y-intercept. Keep in mind, for the y-axis, the value of the x is 0. So the only you need to find the value of the y. So that's the y-intercept. So how do we plot the graph of an equation? We list the solution. So manually we cannot go more than 100 points, but machine can be used to find more than 100 or thousands of points. So let's assume that our goal is to graph this equation, y equal x square minus 9x minus 12. This is the equation between x and y. Keep in mind there are x and y and there is an equality sign. That's why it's called equation. So what is the idea? Idea is find the solution of this equation. How do you do that? Make a table. Choose the value of x. You can choose any value of x here. Use this formula and find the value of y for that particular x. For example, let's say if I choose x equals 0, what happens to the y? You can find that using this formula. Y would be 0 square is 0 minus 9 times 0 is 0 minus 12. So if I pick x equal to 0, to find the solution, I need to use this formula for finding the y and do the calculation. And I found y is negative 12. So the point 0 comma negative 12 is a solution for this equation. You can do the same thing by choosing another x. Let's say x equal 1. So put x equal y 1 here in this formula. So 1 square is 1 minus 9 times 1 is 9 minus 12, which is 1 minus 21, which is negative 20. So when x is 1, the y is negative 20. Here is the another solution. We just have to repeat this process and find out many solutions. For example, I already created this table here. These are some of the solutions for this equation. And when I try to plot these points, I found these points. Look at here. These points. This one, this one, this one. Maybe these 4, 5, 10 points are not enough. Maybe you need more than that. So we can find all these points, and after plotting all these points, we can join them and we can find the graph. So that's the manual way, and that's the way we have to use for this section. Later, maybe we are going to talk different approach, but for now, this is the only approach. Okay, the next topic is distance formula. So this formula can be used to find the distance between 2 points. So let's say you have a point A and then point B. So let's say the coordinate of the point A is x1 comma y1. The coordinate of the point B is x2 comma y2. How do you find the distance between these 2 points? By using this formula. Okay, let's look at some problem from homework here. Start with number 1. State the coordinate of the point graphed in the figure. So if you click here, we are interested to find the coordinate of A. To go A from origin, you can see that you have to walk 6 units on the x-axis and 4 units on the y-axis. So the coordinate supposed to be parenthesis 6 for the x, 4 for the y. Always x comes first and then y next. I'm not going to find out all this coordinate. You can do that. Let's go to the next problem. Maybe this one. Find the distance between the points, these 2 points. Give an exact answer and approximation to 3 decimal places. So if you look at here, this is the distance formula. In this problem, x1, y1 is 0, comma negative 6, and x2, y2 is negative 10, comma 4. I'm going to plug this value back here. x2 means negative 10 minus x1 is 0, so I don't have to do anything there. Square of that. y2 is positive 4. y1 is negative 6, so negative 6 times negative becomes positive 6 square. I'm going to do it here. So square root of 10 is square, which is 100. Use a calculator if you don't know how to do this. Plus 4 plus 6 is 10, square is again 100. So basically this is square root of 2 times 100. This is square root of 2 times square root of 100. And if you use a calculator, this 100 is a perfect square number. So square root of 100 is 10. So this is basically 10 times square root of 2. This is the answer they are asking you. If you use this as an answer here, if you look at the hint, it says simplify your answer. So it would not take without simplification. So what is the answer? The answer is 10 times square root of 2. This is the exact answer. They also ask you to find the approximation. Approximation means just use a calculator and type 10 times square root of 2. Okay, this is a different type of calculator. I'm going to use scientific. It's a square root of 2. What is that? Type 2 first and take the square root of that times 10. So if you want 3 decimal, it's a 14.142. 14.142. Good job. So that's the distance between 2 points. By using the very same idea, we can also find the midpoint between 2 points. So let's say you have 2 points, point A and point B, with the coordinate x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2, and we are interested to find the middle point of those 2 points. Then this is the formula you have to use. Okay, for example, let's say here is the 1 comma 4 and that is 5 comma 5. Then for finding the middle point, you have to add x coordinate and divide by 2. 1 plus 5 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. You have to add y coordinate, which is also 4 plus 5 is 9, divided by 2 is 4.5. So that is the midpoint formula. So another topic and very, very useful topic is circle. Circle means you have a circle. Circle is only possible if you have a center, the fixed center. Let's say the coordinate for the center is h comma k, and this is the location of the circle. The distance of any point on this path from the center is always fixed, and that's called radius of the circle. Or if you have the center and radius of a circle, then this is the equation of a circle in a standard form. Let's see if we have find the distance between the 2 points. Let's see 9. We have this question: find the equation of a circle with the center negative 3 comma 2 and passing through 4 comma negative 2. So we have center negative, what is that? Negative 3 comma 2. That's the center. And one of the point on this location is 4 comma negative 2. Now our goal is to find the equation of circle. For finding the equation of circle, you need the center, which is given here, no problem. So I'm going to plug those value here. X minus h. This is the h, which is negative itself. So this negative and this negative becomes positive. So that is x plus 3 whole square plus y minus k means 2 whole square. And here is the square of the radius. How do you find the radius? The radius is the distance between these 2 points. So we need to use the distance formula, which is square of the difference between the x coordinate plus square of the difference between the y coordinate. So let's say this is our x2, y2 and this is our x1, y1. So x2 is 4 minus x1 is negative. So that negative and this negative from the formula becomes the positive. And y2 is negative 2 and y1 is positive 2. So if you do this math, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 square is 49, this is negative 4 square is 16, so that is 65. So that's the radius r. R equal square root of 65. But we are looking for the square of this number, which is 65. So I'm going to put the value of r square here, and that would be my final answer, which is x plus 3 whole square plus y minus 2 whole square equal 65. That's the equation of circle. Okay, that's all for this section.